The Salvation Army USA Western Territory presents New Frontiers for God.
For 100 years, the Salvation Army has been marching as to war with the cross of Jesus going on before. It all began here, outside this building in San Francisco. On July 22nd, 1883, the first meeting was held, led by Major Alfred Wells, who had been sent out from England by William Booth to command the newly founded Pacific Coast Salvation Army. In 1920, San Francisco became the headquarters city of the newly formed USA Western Territory, stretching the entire 3,500 miles from the Mexico-California border to Alaska in the north, and the 2,600 miles to the Hawaiian Islands in the west. In the first 100 years, the Army's work in this huge area has multiplied beyond the wildest dreams of the founder and his daughter, Evangeline, who commanded the Army in the USA for 30 years. Today, the work has changed to meet the needs of a growing army in a modern world. Territorial headquarters is now in Rancho Palos Verdes, just south of Los Angeles. But nothing will change the pioneering army spirit of the early days in the West.
When the work in the West was developing, it wasn't unusual for cowboys to come to a Corps meeting on horseback. Some even brought their guns to the service.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down.
The Army Corps here at Laramie is still going strong, although cowboys aren't seen as often as they were.
He restoreth my soul.
But the area is still a center for rodeos and Western activities. Tradition persists in other ways, too. A good old-fashioned open air is still as effective as ever it was. This is the band of the Santa Ana Corps of Southern California. The Santa Ana Corps has a fine building and excellent community support. Let's go back to where the work in the West began, the city of the Golden Gate. Steep streets, windy roads, and Fisherman's Wharf, a San Francisco as if you didn't know. In addition to the English-speaking Corps, there's one in Chinatown. It's an exciting, thriving Corps. It's led by a Chinese officer, Major Chek Yi, who left mainland China in 1948. In 1980, he paid a return visit to China and contacted former members of the Salvation Army headquarters in Peking. Among the many imaginative projects that Major Yi has initiated is the production of video programs. These Christian devotional programs in Chinese are distributed over cable TV in place of open-air meetings. They reach a far greater public. Another practical project run by the Chinese Corps is a school for chefs. Trainees are taught cooking to the highest standards. When they graduate from here, every one of these young people will be capable of cooking up to first-class hotel rankings. Just about all of them will get jobs immediately. This is a wonderful help in these days of mass unemployment. In another part of the town is the Silvercrest residence, with 257 apartments for elderly folk.
I've lived here 8.5 years. 6 years ago, my wife passed away, and I was very fortunate to have this lovely apartment with 1 bedroom and a living room, kitchen and bath, and very comfortable. All the heat that we need, all the facilities are included, and I don't know how I could be any happier living anywhere else than right here at Silvercrest.
Right alongside is one of the facilities that Bob enjoys, the Senior Activities Center. This morning, there's a painting class. This is just one of a great variety of activities available. More than 1,100 meals are prepared every day in this kitchen nearby. They're taken out to feeding sites around the city, sites run by the Salvation Army and other organizations, including the community. In San Francisco, the Army also runs an adult rehabilitation center.
Enough to keep you busy.
For sure.
For today, anyway.
Right.
Men and women come here for treatment, including alcoholics and those who've been on drugs. During their period of addiction, they've lost the ability to concentrate and to discipline themselves to work regular hours. They're trained to do ordinary manual work to make them employable once again. It's called a work therapy program. The work consists of repairing and recycling goods, in this case shoes, for sale in the Army's thrift shops. This finances the whole program. Out of working hours, many of the women live at Pinehurst, a comfortable house where those that need it can have medical, social, and spiritual counseling. All the ladies are expected to remain at least 90 days and to abstain completely from alcohol or the use of drugs. There's yet another type of work being carried out in San Francisco.
I'm Major Buzz Brewer, the Director of Correctional Services for the Salvation Army in the state of California. My job is to extend the various spiritual and social services of the Salvation Army to the inmates of 19 state and federal correctional institutions in California. There are 40,000 men and women prisoners in the state and federal prisons in California. In my visits to these institutions, I serve as the contact person for all of the Salvation Army services. Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Daniels, how are you? You mind if I take a moment with Mr. Lawrence down there?
How you doing?
Take a little business here. I've got the information that you wanted regarding the Adult Rehabilitation Center. Many prisoners have been estranged from their family and lost contact with parents, brothers, sisters, etc. I put these men in touch with the Missing Persons Bureau. Many have families outside in need of spiritual or material help. These are put in touch with a Corps officer in the town where their family lives. When a man has finished his sentence, many have no plan or no place to go upon their release. These men I refer to our adult rehabilitation centers.
Helping people in jail is important. Helping to keep people out of jail is even more important. And the way to prison often starts on the streets after dark, when young people have nothing to do and nowhere to go. The Dalles is a small town in Oregon. It has few amenities, but it does have a Salvation Army Corps, and Lieutenant Scott Johnson has some views on the problem.
The Dalles, like every other town in the United States, has a problem with providing young people with something to do. We at the Salvation Army have opened up a free game room to try to reach these young people. One of the most unique things about this is that a gentleman across the street who runs an arcade called Fun Unlimited has given us almost half of the games for our game room. And there's been several other people in town that have made some donations. The main reason, though, that we do the game room ministry is just that. It is a ministry. We attract literally hundreds of people into there, and from that point on, we can build relationships with them and hopefully win them to the Lord and tell them about Him.
No one knows better than the lieutenant the struggles facing youth today.
My life hasn't always been a life of commitment and dedication, especially in the ranks of the Salvation Army. At a late age in high school, I became involved in drugs all the way on up into heroin, and I lost a brother from heroin. And it was at that point that I really started to look at life and realize that there was more to life than just getting high. I'm grateful for the Lord and His leading in the Salvation Army and bringing me into it, and the change that has taken place and the direction I can try to add to other people's lives now.
Let's travel down the beautiful Columbia River Gorge, through the timber country of Oregon, to Portland. The Rose Center in Portland cares for the other end of the human lifespan. Highlight of the day is the midday meal. The members eat more than 25,000 of them in an average year, so they must think they're pretty good value. The members pay a small subscription to belong because it makes them feel that it's their club. Every Monday morning, there's the exercise class, led today by a lady of 84.
Right hand, left toe, up, bend right.
They're encouraged to practice at home. One of them is 87 and still going strong.
Left toe, up, bend right, up, left arm to right toe, up.
There's a very wide range of activities available to the members. Some of those who practice crafts didn't know that they had a talent for this kind of thing until they tried their hand at it. At reception, their needs and problems are dealt with. They can book senior citizens' holidays through the center. And talking of holidays, why not visit Arizona? In the winter, the snowbirds, as they're called, come here in their thousands to enjoy the mild climate. In Phoenix, the Salvation Army runs the South Mountain Youth and Family Center. Sessions are provided for adults who are emotionally disturbed. Sometimes a new need suddenly presents itself. Homeless people took over a piece of wasteland in downtown Phoenix and set up temporary homes. It's the way of the Salvation Army to respond to human need. A feeding program was put in hand immediately. Many are unemployed, victims of the Depression, drawn to the area by the mild winter weather of Arizona. But the need for help is not confined to any one place. Climbing up into the Rockies and above the winter snow line, we reach the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. There are hungry people here, too, but it's much too cold for an outdoor feeding program. So the Army has set up a free meal service inside a building within the city. Advisory boards are an important part of the Salvation Army's organization. Denver's board, like most others, is made up of influential citizens whose advice and assistance is extremely valuable.
We've got so many things going, but we are redirecting some of our efforts now and some of our resources to meet the emergencies that have arisen due to the conditions that have developed in our economy in this country. The new poor, the people that are starving, the people that are finding themselves destitute for the first time. And we've had to give up some of our dreams. We're even selling the Bell Ranch because that great dream of a conference center is going to have to be postponed. And we'll take those resources and put them in to the survival of mankind in Metro Denver. I think it would be well if we heard from Jerry Cook, our Director of Social Services, as to how some of those efforts are developing now on the streets.
We're finding a real increase in the number of men stranded on the street, people that haven't been there before. Our feeding line program, for example, we're running 250 a day rather than 150 a day from last year. And the estimates of the number of homeless on the street are anywhere from 500 to 1,000 every night. And to this point, there have been approximately 82 beds available for those individuals.
Mr. Chairman, we've been approached by some concerned citizens who want to help and assist us in doing this, and we have located a building at 22nd and Larimer that could be used in this way.
What about the zoning on this building?
Chuck, the matter of zoning is in front of the property committee right now, and our initial feeling is it's going to clear, but we have initiated the process to get it through zoning.
How many people can the facility handle?
Marilyn, we've just had the fire department inspect the premises, and they've indicated that we can have 180 persons per night.
Per night.
A problem and the answer. It's good to see such sincere efforts being made. The Army is grateful for the dedicated help of its advisory boards everywhere. Let's go north now, almost to the border with Canada. Seattle is an attractive city. Its waterfront faces one of the world's finest harbors. Seattle is concerned with retaining the best of the past, and one of the delightful older buildings is the Army's Evangeline residence. Once it was a first-class hotel. Now it provides accommodation for women who need somewhere to live in Seattle.
It is the ministry of the Evangeline residence to provide a home for women. The Evangeline is a safe, protective place for them to live.
There are about 150 here at any one time. Let's meet some of them and find out why they've made their home here.
I'm going to the Seattle Central Community College, and I'm getting a 2-year degree in business.
And I'm a student at Seattle Central. I'm in the 4-year transfer program for business administration.
I am in the Evangeline residence because I am in business, and it is a convenient place to stay.
I'm in business too, and we seal and shrink posters, stationery, and other articles.
We came from Japan, and I'm studying secretarial. I came from Japan. I'm studying English.
Mitsuko Hosaka is studying the piano at the University of Seattle Music Faculty. This lady has lived here for many years, since her retirement. Many of them are here for medical reasons. Sharon needs a wheelchair. Sheffy comes from Alaska and has to visit a hospital in Seattle once a year for kidney treatment. Melanie teaches in a daycare center. Debbie Brewer is blind. She travels by herself on a bus every day to work at Washington University. She likes living here because she meets so many people. What a variety of folk look on the Evangeline as their home. The USA Western Territory extends all the way to Alaska's snowy mountains. The capital of Alaska is Juneau, a small but charming little town overshadowed by steeply sided mountains. There's a lively Corps community center here. Some of the soldiers are Alaskan Indians.
In our Corps, Mrs. Bacon and I were very privileged to be adopted into the Tlingit tribe. She on the Eagle side and myself on the Raven side. And today we have some of our people from the Corps who are here wearing some of their ceremonial blankets and costuming, and they will tell you a little bit about what they are.
What I have on is the shark blanket, and it comes from the eagle side. And over here is another eagle blanket, and then the eagle vests.
On the Raven side, my tribal brother and sister here, she has on a raven with coho emblems on it. Our captain has on a raven with the cross worked into it. I have on a blanket that is passed down for making peace between the tribes. It shows equality between the tribes and just attempts to bring peace.
For this reason, it has no clan design. The Indian people are well represented in the Sunday school, too. This morning, there's treasure to be won. In the big treasure chest, there are wonderful presents for anyone who has the right key.
Try the other one, try the other one. Up to Dad. No, not quite, well, maybe next time. Okay, everybody else in the next, okay, the next row, come up, please. The next row.
Is it the one?
Oh, well. Okay, we got one. We got one. We got one.
It is the right key.
Now just you come stand over here then. Wait, all right?
Why couldn't I have had the right one? She's happy anyway. Anchorage is the largest city in Alaska, and the Salvation Army has its divisional HQ here. An important project is the Clitheroe Center, a detoxification unit for alcoholics. The center has trucks patrolling the streets of Anchorage 24 hours a day. It's not unusual to pick up as many as 8 drunks off the streets in an afternoon.
Call 403 East 9th, building number 4.
It's an urgent matter because anyone lying on the streets here in winter soon freezes to death.
You went to the rear of the building there, Charles, in the back?
There's one down round here somewhere. Trouble is, they're not always easy to spot. They tend to hide in corners, out of the wind. There he is, over there, sitting on that doorstep. The question is, will he cooperate? Some do, some don't. For all too many, drink is a way of life. But this one decides he will come to the center after all.
Good morning. Can you wake up? Come on. Let's wake up. Let's sit up. It's only going to take just a minute. There you go. Whoops, come on. Let's sit up. What you have to do is take a deep breath. Are you with me? Take a deep breath and seal your lips around this little plastic mouthpiece and blow into it as hard as you can until I tell you to stop. Okay? Won't take long. There you go. You're almost ready. Be a little bit. Let's roll you over on your side. There you go.
The first stage is to dry out the patient. By the time a patient has been here a day or two, the effects of alcohol are beginning to wear off. Now he'll have to start making decisions. An experienced counselor encourages him to face the realities of life. If he doesn't shake himself free of the drinking habit, life can never be worth living again. But the decision must be his. If he makes the effort, he'll have the Salvation Army's program to help him. Will he try? Sadly, only about half of them do.
Was it a very busy schedule while you was up there?
We're in Hawaii now, outside the Army's addiction treatment facility. The problem of alcoholism is truly worldwide. Here, the victims of alcoholic abuse are given a more gentle initial treatment, what's called a social detox. Group therapy, in which they exchange experiences, helps them to face the need to give up their drinking habits. They all come here voluntarily.
What about other people? Do you have any thoughts along this, that things that have kept nagging at you, and how you saw either that you were dwelling on them?
Sally Page is the program director.
Salvation Army's short-term residential program has been designed to intervene at an earlier stage in the development of the chemically dependent individual. We do one-on-one counseling. We provide education in areas of alcohol abuse and legal drugs. We also have group therapy, which we feel is the most important part of the program. In group therapy, the residents learn to deal with a lot of their feelings and emotions in a new way and learn to resolve some of their problems and conflicts so that they then can cope with and deal with the world on the outside.
Back in Seattle, another chapter in the story is being written. The Adult Rehabilitation Center helps those like Jim who've taken themselves in hand and decided that they will try and live a normal life once more.
Jim, I've been reviewing your records here, and it appears as though you have had a variety of experiences. I think it'd be good for you to learn a new skill, and so we're going to be assigning you to our upholstery shop. Would you like that?
Yeah, I would.
Do you think you could develop that skill to the point that you'd feel comfortable in it?
I believe we could, yes.
Okay. Why don't we go down to the upholstery shop now, and I'll introduce you to the foreman.
Okay.
Good. Good luck to you.
In the Adult Rehabilitation Center, men and women are given jobs to prepare them for readjustment in society. The jobs aren't permanent. They work here until they've proven their ability to work regularly and for set hours. In other words, are acceptable in the competitive world of commerce.
Good morning, Robert. How are you today?
Morning, Cal.
Good. Robert, we're going to introduce a new man to our program, Jim. Jim's going to be here, and we're going to introduce him to the upholstery shop. So if you could take him under your wing, it would be good. Okay? Good luck to you, Jim.
Excellent.
Good.
Have you ever been in the upholstery trade before?
No, never.
Only time will tell whether Jim has kicked the habit and is ready to live a normal life again. Reflections is the name of a Salvation Army home in Anchorage, Alaska, for women with alcoholic and drug problems. It's a sad thing that more women than ever before are becoming the victims of alcohol. Often young people whose lives are being ruined before they have experienced the good things life has to offer. Here again, they're encouraged to exchange experiences and to talk their problems through.
Good. You've got a little bit longer here yet, right?
Yes, 1 more week.
1 more week?
Yes.
How do you feel about being here?
Very good.
Pleasant, homely surroundings help. They take it in turns to cook the meals and do the other household chores. Gradually, they get back their self-respect.
How have you felt about you being here?
I feel a lot better. My self-esteem used to be terrible, but now I feel a lot better about myself.
You get out what you put into the program. It's a really good program. All the material we cover is very valid.
I feel that this is the right place for me to come to understand myself and learn to enjoy life?
I came to Reflections 2 weeks ago today. My life was in disaster. I am an alcohol and drug abuser. Life was very boring to me. Since I've been in Reflections, I've been given the tools in which is going to help me when I get out to enjoy life. I wake up every day now feeling good instead of wanting to drink or some kind of drug.
That it's possible to put a life of drink, drugs, or crime behind you is proven by the story of Romeo Giudice.
I was using drugs from an early age. I started at the age of 13. And I guess I started pretty much like most young people do, never wanting to become addicted, never realizing that I could become addicted. But because of friends and the confidence we put in our friends, I was introduced to heroin. A friend of mine asked me if I would like to make money by selling drugs, not using, but just selling. That sounded exciting to me, and I took him up on the opportunity. For a 13-year-old kid to have a pocket full of dope, a pocket full of money, and the influence in the neighborhood that a drug dealer would have is quite impressive. After I began selling drugs, one of my friends who needed a fix, was sick and didn't have the money, asked me if I would give him a fix free. I told him I couldn't do that and he'd have to go out and make some money before he could get his drugs. He then asked me if I had ever gotten high, if I'd ever mainlined heroin. I said no, I hadn't, and had no intention of so doing. Because he was a friend of mine, I allowed him to talk me into trying it. After the first time my friend put the needle in my arm for me, it was the beginning of the end. Never realizing I would become addicted, I did become addicted. I had to depend on drugs to continue my daily activities. I became known by the police and was arrested a number of times. People said that I was doing life on the installment plan. After one of my many arrests, I was before a judge, and the judge asked if I had ever sought help, if I would ever try to kick my habit, try to clean up my act. I kind of laughed at him and said no, I hadn't, and he referred me to a social worker who referred me to the Salvation Army. It was there that my spiritual father, Brigadier Job, was able to introduce me to the Lord Jesus Christ.
And now Romeo is an officer in the Salvation Army. The Hawaiian Islands are the most westerly part of the Army's USA Western Territory. Close to divisional headquarters, an unusual Army project is the Waioli Tea Room. It was opened in 1922 as a place to train the girls in the nearby girls' hostel. It also raised funds for other Army projects, and it's still popular with the public today. Close by is the Army's Waioli Chapel. Couples come from as far away as Japan to go through a marriage ceremony here, as many as 12 or 16 in a day. But here in Hawaii, the Army also does the traditional things, like holding open airs in the busy streets of Honolulu.
Well known for is a hymn of the church, and we're going to be led as we sing it this afternoon. So here we go.
The public have come to accept the Salvation Army as part of their society, and may be flamboyant, but a beloved and respected organization nonetheless. Hawaii has the only Japanese-speaking corps in the USA. Envoy James Taba instructs the adult Sunday school.
立法が御子により無力になっているためになし得なかったことを神は成し遂げてくださった。すなわち御子を罪の
Another corps with a unique identity is the Korean Corps in Los Angeles. Captain Paul Kim was sent from Korea especially to develop this work. In a very short time, the Corps has grown pace for pace with the ever-increasing Korean community.
이제 그 십자가를 지시기 위해서 준비하는 이 40일 동안에
But what about the citizens of tomorrow? What does the Army do for the children? The answer is a great deal. These 2-year-olds are being cared for in the Army's daycare center in Los Angeles. They are primarily from minority communities.
We're gonna make a snowman. Wow, see there?
They're encouraged to care for animals, and the center has quite a collection. It's a great thing for their parents to be able to leave them in safe hands while they're at work. Even at his age, he knows where to turn for help and sympathy. Most of the children come from families who live in the Skid Row district, just round the corner from the center. The Army are pretty well known here, too. It's certainly not an area where children should be left wandering the streets. At the center, they can have a nourishing but inexpensive lunch. For the young people of school age, there are the Sunbeams, Girl Guards, and the Founders Men.
Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice, rejoice in the Lord always.
A district rally is a great occasion. This enthusiastic gathering is at Escondido in Southern California. Lunchtime is one of the highlights of the day. Then, prizes for the smartest companies.
4th place and work our way up. And there's really no losers. You all looked great. Just a few fingernails and a few hairs out of place and things like that. El Cajon, 4th place for Sunbeam inspector. Escondido, 3rd place.
The South Mountain Family and Youth Center in Phoenix, Arizona, provides fine facilities for young people. This soccer class is for elementary school-age children. And there's boxing for older boys, under an expert trainer. Karate, too. These are just a few of the wide range of activities provided for young people here.
My command, switch legs. Ayos! Left roundhouse kicks to the middle. 1, 2, 3.
It's nice to think of youth as a happy, carefree time. But more and more young people find themselves in trouble these days. As usual, the Army is ready to help. This is the Merrick Dutton Learning Center in Hawaii. All of the children here have been sent by family courts or the Department for Social Service and military dependents. They are all between the ages of 8 and 17 and have emotional or psychological problems. Some people may be surprised to find a computer makes an excellent tool with which to train emotionally disturbed young people. It presents a challenge to which they can respond.
Up and then down. You can try it out, and then when you think you've got it, test it, and if it's not right, come back and change it. These things and see what happens when you type it.
The older class is for boys and girls. These children have troubled histories, and the discipline in the center is tighter than normal. The aim is to enable these boys and girls on discharge to go back home, to foster homes, or to live independent and normal lives.
So in this case, well, it depends. Effect is what happened, and cause is the reason it happened. Well, the reason is not...
The Salvation Army's care for young people extends right up to young adults. In the William Booth Memorial Home for the Educationally Disturbed in Anchorage, the majority of the young women are the victims of family abuse, and all have tragic backgrounds.
I came in, I was 5 months pregnant. I had my baby a month ago, and now I'm in the mother-infant program. And I'm working on parenting skills and community resources and finding out what I'm going to do when I leave Booth.
Why are you at Booth?
I'm at Booth because for one thing, I'm not pregnant, and I went through different foster care programs, and it did not work out for me because I was either running or I had drug problems or alcohol problems, and they put me here at Booth under the Division of Correction.
One result of their experiences is a serious neglect of their education, and the program endeavors to remedy this.
I'd like to give out your homework assignments. Michelle, I'd like you to work on your migration worksheet, okay? Laura, you can start reading the search book. Sandy, your Scope magazine assignment is due, and I'd like you to continue reading the book. Michelle Nichols, you're also working on the Scope magazine, and I want you to work on your book report. Kathy, if you could get together with me after class, we could get your assignment. Okay? Okay.
Most of these young people have been referred here by the Department of Correction. It says much for the department's confidence in the Army that they believe they will succeed in this difficult task.
And I have no place else to go, and I've been here for almost 2 months now, and I think that I'm beginning to work on all my problems, and it's doing pretty good so far. And I hope that when I get out of here, I will have all my problems solved by then.
Perhaps the story of the Salvation Army's Western Territory, USA, with all its fascinating variety of work, can be typified in the rich, warm, and gentle culture of the Hawaiian Islands. It's a charming custom here to sing the Lord's Prayer in Hawaiian, with the beauty of the traditional dance and hand interpretation.
Ko ikayala yanama ko no ke iala e kalamaho yamako e ko mako lavihala ana me mako ilani ka poelawe
The hope of the Army is its youth, the soldiers of tomorrow. They will carry on the work in the West to lift the Army's name, making the second century even more glorious than the first.